stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Good evening, everybody. It is another Monday. It is December 9th, 2024. It is 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, and we are live with the Drive-In Speaker Box Podcast. I am your host, Bo, the Boom Operator.
And I am the Grip.
And before we get started, one of our Twitch viewers in the pre-show just redeemed some points. Cheers to Merle. Going to sit here and have a little sip of some brandy to get the show started, but we are going to be talking to you about movies. That's what we do. Mm-hmm. If you are just now tuning into this podcast, wherever it is you download podcasts, maybe think about joining the live show. We've been on Twitch for the past half hour for the Twitch pre-show, and we do this every single Monday live. There's no editing here. There's no cuts, no what do we say? I don't even know. It's just us jabbering on for an hour.
There's no professional stuff going on here. Mm-mm. That's not true. There's a lot of professional stuff going on here.
We've been doing it so long we make it look easy. So in the show tonight, I went and saw a new movie. I went and saw the new film Flow. I believe it's a Latvian animated film that has been making the rounds of all the film festivals and things like that, and I'm going to be reviewing that later in the show. We review movies at the halfway point of the show. Did you get a chance to see anything, Jake?
You know what? I did get to watch, that thing with Frank Grillo and
the werewolves?
But not the werewolves. I didn't see werewolves. I watched the first few episodes that have been released of the new Creature Commandos for the DC, because Weasel is brought back for that. So, and Frank Grillo is doing the voice of Rick Flag Sr. Frank Grillo and werewolves just end up being a combo.
Nobody saw werewolves. I wanted to go see it. I just didn't have a lot. I really budget about one night a week that I can go see a movie, and it's generally an afternoon, not a night, and it's Sunday, and it's Sunday morning. And
so I do Sunday evening,
and I Flow was my choice, and I'm glad it was. So I'll give you the full scoop on that later, and he's going to give you the scoop on Creature Commandos. But before we get into all that, let's talk about what happened this past week, because it has been a week. New things have happened. Probably the only thing I was pretty excited about is we finally, after 3 years waiting for a trailer for season 2 of Severance. One of our viewers on Twitch, who's not watching right now because got some health problems. Shout out to our Twitch mod. He had recommended I watch Severance, and I was like, I don't know, I don't get a lot of time to watch TV and stuff. He's like, I think you need to watch the show. I watched this show, and I was absolutely hooked. I was like, this show is the coolest. I love this show. Can't wait for season 2. And of course, because I love something, it is stripped away from me. And it's been 3 years and no season 2. And here we go. Thanks, Apple TV. Ugh. Gross.
They had other things to do. Like they had to make Napoleon that nobody watched. They're having to make endless other projects that people don't want.
That nobody cares about.
And then, they have to worry about what they're doing for Ted Lasso merchandising.
Oh, Apple TV Plus.
You know what? Something I found that you might be excited about.
Is it the recasting of Severus Snape?
Oh, no. I saw that. I wasn't going to talk about that. I'll let you handle that, and I'll sit here and make awkward faces the whole time. But before we get to that, speaking of dark, broody people in their dark clothing and everything like this, you can be one if you want to, because you know how stoked you are for Nosferatu?
It's going to be the Christmas movie of the season.
They are selling Count Orlok's sarcophagus bed, just like in the movie. 20 grand.
What?
Limited
I will
run
build
here.
my own.
Dude, but look at this thing.
Okay, he's pulling up a picture for me. I mean, is it concrete? Like, is it like?
It looks like it's made out of metal, but look, man.
Is it a Serta? Like, is it a Tempur-Pedic? Like,
It looks like there's just a velvet pad in the bottom.
for
of the
20
thing.
grand, that thing better tug me to sleep.
Yeah, I think it's cast from like the actual thing they use in the movie, and they're doing a very limited run.
I mean, it's kind of like didn't Yeti do like a Yeti coffin, like the Cooler Company, like a year ago?
Maybe.
I mean, that's really cool. Are they doing a Nosferatu sarcophagus popcorn bucket? Because that I'll get into.
They are supposed to have a Nosferatu popcorn bucket.
I will buy that for $1.
It's not as cool as the War of the Rohirrim popcorn buckets they have.
What's that one gonna be?
It's a big friggin' axe. It's like
That's a big axe popcorn bucket.
yeah, it's like
huh?
6 feet long, and it's like you get the handle, and at the end of the handle is the popcorn bucket, and then they have a grail for the drink, so you can get like a full-on weapon for putting your popcorn in.
I don't know if that's gonna go over the way they think it's going to. Like, what if people are like in the lobby just like flinging popcorn?
That was instantly like what everyone said. They're just like, cool. They're just handing out weapons for popcorn buckets. It's like, heck, yeah.
I'm here for it though. Like, sign me up.
Wow, Velvet Santa.
I'm-
Dallas Buyers Club popcorn bucket was slightly inappropriate. I'm sure it was.
It's cancer meds. It's scattered at the bottom. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah, War of the Rohirrim. That's coming out very, very soon.
This weekend.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th. Oh, Friday the 13th.
I'm doing some December spookies.
It's already getting some mixed
Mixed how?
receptions. You know, of course it has its bunk Rotten Tomatoes scores and all that.
Rotten Tomatoes is irrelevant.
Where everyone's like, I mean, it's okay, but it's not Lord of the Rings or whatever. But I mean, that I want to see it. I hope we get it in Japanese language. I really doubt.
I feel like
I really doubt that'll happen.
Was it made in Japanese language?
Yeah, they did it. They did it both.
Or was it? I mean, but was it originally made in Japanese language, or
animated
was it
for
dubbed?
English?
Yeah,
I don't know.
because that's generally my deal. Is like if it's animated for Japanese language, because the just the way that the actors sync when they speak and all that stuff just is more correct.
I feel like Japanese voice actors are so much better than
Well, yeah, just
the majority of all.
just sounds cool.
No, not that. Like I'm not like some like yeah, yeah. It's just I think they put a lot more into it. Like I'll talk probably some about that during the Creature Commandos. Speaking,
Merle on Twitch asks who wrote it.
who wrote the War of the Rohirrim movie?
Yeah, because it wasn't Tolkien.
Yeah, that's for sure. It wasn't.
We do know that much.
Oh my! I don't have internet on my tablet.
Your tabby.
It's wireless connection only.
We do know who the animator is, and
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what's going to make it cool.
I mean, even with like, yeah, how do you direct a language that you don't know, kind of a thing?
Right.
It was written by Jeffrey Adis, Will Matthews, and Phoebe Gittins, as well as
these
5
people,
other people. Yeah,
these people of which you can hold blame.
one of the people credited is Tolkien, based on characters by.
Of course, yeah.
Did he actually make any of the characters that will be shown in this movie? Oh, Gandalf.
And orcs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wizards. Okay.
Speaking of fantasy stuff that just doesn't seem to end, did you see there was a new trailer for the season 3 of Wheel of Time?
How does it hit? Who's watching that?
That was my question.
Because I've watched the first couple of episodes when it was first out, the season 1, and I was like, this blows. And then I watched Reacher instead. And
I watched
was like,
season
this
2.
rules.
I got through season 2. You know, I read the Wheel of Time. I read the first like 2 or 3 books of the Robert Jordan series, and you know, they get kind of boring, just like the show. So maybe they're really accurate, but it says it's supposed to be even more intense and darker and bloodier, and I'm like, I don't think anybody's asking for it anymore. But season 3 trailer just dropped. You can check it out if you wanna. What else do you have in your news? There wasn't a whole lot of stuff that I had.
Talking about intense, dark, and bloody, we got a couple of little breadcrumbs for 28 years later. There's a poster that's been released, and for some reason that's like a news thing. And then a teaser trailer, and this one really is like out of all trailers that are called teasers, this one's like
It goes zombies.
no, yeah, it's mainly a black screen, and it has little flashes of the same images that you would see on the poster. A picture of like an island, but it just like does like real quick flashes, and it's like friggin' zombies.
28 years later.
Yeah. So there's a little bit out there if that's enough of something to get you excited at all. Really, I don't. The poster's just the hazard
Just
symbol
with
made of
skulls.
skulls. Yeah.
Whoa.
Time didn't heal anything.
Of course not. It's zombies.
Yeah. So that's out there if that's your kind of thing. Speaking of things that are like just a mess, Marvel's Thunderbolts asterisk is heading back for reshoots.
Oh, God.
The asterisk is an official part of the title.
That's the one with
Florence Pugh and David Harbour.
Yeah, I've been seeing
Sebastian Stan.
Seen some trailers for it.
Yeah.
And it's already going back for reshoots.
Yeah, it's like all these characters that you don't care about, plus Bucky. Because I guess they have to have Bucky in Thunderbolts since
he needs to be in a movie so they can keep him.
Winter Soldier instead of having Hawkeye in Thunderbolts, since Hawkeye was a good guy from the get-go, and they can't have him as criminal Hawkeye, which was the coolest version of Hawkeye, because original iteration Thunderbolts Hawkeye was like the coolest, but we can't have that in MCU.
Why? Is it because Jeremy?
Well, because he's like Ronin
Renner
now.
Can't do it anymore.
Well, I mean, snowmobile accidents. Jesus, man.
But hey, just recast him with someone else, because that seems to work.
Breaks everything, huh? Yeah. So going back for reshoots, which just means more and more delays on
a movie that we don't care about.
Marvel stuff.
You'd think that they would have learned what was the other one, the Eternals, that no one cared about, and then there was another super no one cared about it, and they're like, well, no one, and it was like, oh god.
Guardians of the Galaxy has classically been a comic book that nobody cares about, but all of a sudden it somehow became a popular movie, and so they're like, well, what are some other teams of people that no one cares about that we can do?
But wasn't there another one that just came out that they were like, oh, it's the lowest performing Marvel movie in the history?
West Coast. You could put Hawkeye in that.
Yeah. They could.
Lowest performing Marvel movie.
It was like fairly recent, and we were talking about like no one asked for that movie, and I've already forgotten about it.
There's so many of them. Shang-Chi was one that sucked and no one asked for, but it did well.
Okay. I thought it was all right. It had Aquafina in it a little too much, but
yeah,
that's
the other.
The Marvels. That's what it was. Thank you, Al Topich on Twitch. The Marvels.
Oh, I forgot that even existed.
I mentioned
with
Eternals,
them swapping their powers.
Yeah,
because it was Captain Marvel, and then Miss Marvel. And then the Rambo lady, whatever her superhero character name is. Sure.
That's the one. And everyone's like, why didn't nobody see this movie, says Disney. And I'm like, we all told you no one wants to see this movie.
No one wanted it, and old Brie Larson pissed the world off.
Yeah. And then they blame the audiences. It's like, well, audiences, it's the audience fault.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, yeah, it is our fault. We didn't want to see it. Like, that's what we're telling you.
Talking Disney, making things that nobody wants. I forgot to grab notes on this or whatever, but I was reading that Snow White has now become one of, if not the most expensive of their live-action adaptations from animated films.
That's going to be a mistake.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought, because that movie has upset everyone like thrice over.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the biggest flop of all?
Yeah, and Disney is like, maybe more money will fix the problem. Oh,
it didn't.
Everyone's mad at us again. Rachel Zegler won't shut the fuck up. Here's
Here's
more
more money.
Yeah. Oh, Peter Dinklage hates us.
Here's
Throw
more
more
money.
money at that movie. Yeah. So
And then what? Watch it. They'll throw all this money at it, and then they'll go, "We can't release it. We're gonna Batgirl this."
Oh,
And
Disney, dude! I wish Warner Brothers wasn't the one doing that with the movies that we want to see, like Wile E. Coyote versus Acme, or Batgirl, or whatever the hell. Like these movies that were like, oh, we would kind of like to see that.
I just want, Disney. Why don't you just start jumping on that Ponzi scheme train?
Which
and-
we'll never get that Michael Keaton Batman from that Batgirl movie, which is the real.
That's the whole reason we
that's
wanted
what
to see
wanted-
Flash. It worked for that. Like it paid for most of that.
So, yeah, I wish Disney was the one that did that. They were just like, ooh, this one's getting filed under insurance. If Warner Brothers is sold tomorrow, Dance in the Street. Well, Velvet Santa one day probably. Which, talking about WB, there was this very misleading clickbait bullshit news article that I looked at
About
DC and their new movies, which is that James Gunn was like, oh, there's a new movie added to the list, and that was the end of the information. So
we know it's always going to be a new movie
Yeah,
because you
there's-
assholes are insufferable. What's the other word? Satiable, like money beasts.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So yeah, James Gunn said that something else was greenlit last week. I can't even talk about yet. He's the dude in charge of what he gets to talk about. So why can't he talk about it?
Because
But yeah,
he probably doesn't even know yet. He's
So-
probably just getting people excited.
add to the list, which the list of DC movies it keeps stretching and shrinking and then expanding and shrinking. So they're like, we got 7 projects lined up, and the next time he talks about it, he's like, we got 4.5 projects lined up, and the next time he's like, dude, there's
We
7
got a
and
project.
3/4. Yeah,
There's a project
And-
that we
and
can't talk about.
the
lined
official
up.
the official release list is this, and he goes, the official release list is now reorganized and all that stuff. But we did get Creature Commandos finally released. So the first bit of James Gunn's DC is out there, and I will talk about that here in a little bit, most likely. Velvet Santa says Lobo the movie with a CGI Sam Kinison. No, Sam Kinison has no place in Lobo the movie unless it's his voice being used for like Lobo's poodles, or the dolphins maybe. I want Lobo.
I think he should have been the clown from Spawn. Sam
Yes.
Kinison, yeah.
I want Lobo to be Stone Cold Steve Austin with hair, and I want him to come in on the motorcycle, glass shatters, and he goes, oh, hell yeah, you done bastaches, you done got Lobo, the main man, and he's like slamming beers and just being
Has
Stone
knee
Cold.
braces.
Yeah, because the knee braces would work because it has Lobo has the boots with that go all the way up to his knees with the skull, like the big demon faces on there.
Does he wear knee braces as a part of like his thing, or is it because his knees are weak?
Yes. Yes. The answer is yes. But that's how I wanted Black Adam to end. I've talked about that here before. I wanted the post-credit scene to be Lobo slamming through a window, glass break, Black Adam versus Lobo, Rock versus Stone Cold. It would have been perfect.
But you know what? We don't get to write these things.
Yeah, we don't get to have that.
They only write themselves.
Yeah. Maybe they do with everyone using AI and all that crap now.
We just need to input into the AI machine a lot of Lobo. We just need to put it in there. And so anytime someone searches for like, oh, what would be a cool comic book movie, because that's probably what these producers are doing, then Lobo shows up looking like Stone Cold, and they go, oh, the AI said it, we got to do it. So that's the tactic. Get on it,
Velvet
Jake.
Santa says, we need to get on it. We need comic book movies that aren't DC or Marvel. The thing is that most things end up being DC or Marvel. Constantine is supposed to get another thing. That's DC. People, I watched a thing the other day where they were talking about Kick-Ass, and they're like, not from DC, not from Marvel, but Kick-Ass, and it's a comic book. It's like, that's where you're wrong, because Kick-Ass was a fucking Marvel comic book. It was from Max.
I think the only movie, well, the only one that I
Hellboy.
there's Hellboy and Spawn and what's the other one? Trying to think of some comic movies.
The Mask is a comic book movie.
Yeah, The Mask.
League of
Crow.
Extraordinary Gentlemen, The Crow. You have what's the one I'm thinking of? with The Rage and the Blue Raja and the Shoveler.
Oh, Mystery
Men.
Men.
Mystery
Yeah.
Men's a comic book movie. Men in Black is a comic book movie.
Yes, it is.
There are all sorts of comic book movies out there that aren't from
DC or Marvel.
DC or Marvel.
Turns out most of them are pretty cool.
The Phantom, The Shadow, and The Rocketeer. I think 2 of those 3 at least were radio shows prior to being comic books. So those are radio show movies. But you know what? Talking comic book movies that aren't even based on comic books at all. Joker 2, for anyone who actually wants to watch that thing after everyone decided not to watch that thing. It is getting its streaming release this weekend.
You can check it out. You can add it to your watch list this holiday season.
It'll be available on Max starting Friday.
Nice. Let's see. I didn't have too much left in my lineup except for something that we talked about in the pre-show, that the 40th anniversary of Vampire Hunter D is returning to theaters in April. So AMC theaters. So that's pretty exciting. We were talking a lot about Vampire Hunter D in the pre-show.
We were in the pre-show, but just recap there. I love Vampire Hunter D. I have a lot of the art books. There's novels that you can go find. They're usually tucked in the manga section because it has an anime cover, so it must be anime manga or whatever. But it's novels. Dark Horse did publish those novels, talking about companies that aren't Marvel or DC. With Yoshitaka Amano having done all the concept art, there's lots of cool things about Vampire Hunter D out there. Which, hey man, you want comic movies that aren't Marvel or DC? Basically every anime movie's based on a manga, so there you go, comics on the screen. But yeah, dude, it's going to be AMC April 9th.
I think, April 9th.
I'm very excited about that. The original Vampire Hunter D. It's a slow-paced, low movie, but when stuff happens on screen, it's cool. It's very cool. It's very cool. It's dark and grim. And that movie
paved the way for a lot of other movies, to kind of kick the door open and introduce a lot of people to, feature-length adult animation. And Vampire Hunter D was one of the first to really, really get big traction.
Plus, it's super cool because it's all cyberpunk's still the rage right now, and it's in the far-flung future. It's like the year 12,000.
There's robots and
there's cyborg horses and
cyborg zombies,
cyborg castles,
cyborg whatever, cyborg sandwiches, you name it.
Super rad. I'm very excited. I want to see that on the big screen bad.
Yeah, me too.
That's gonna be cool.
Well, all right. Well, let's jump in and talk about what's coming out. Oh, you got one more thing?
I got a couple. Real quick. Red One also coming out before this weekend. You'll be able to watch it on Amazon starting Thursday. So if you want to get your Christmas on there, Final Destination has been given its release date. It comes out May 16th next year for the 6th installation of Final Destination.
Making another one of those?
Yeah, man. It's going to be like Tony Todd's last movie there. We got a trailer for a Apple TV movie that actually looks pretty interesting. It's called The Gorge.
Whoa, it's about eating?
No, these like 2 elite snipers played by...
Is it about a big old chasm?
Yeah, there's a big old chasm, The Gorge. And Miles Teller's stationed on one side and Anna Taylor-Joy's stationed on the other.
And they're shooting each other.
And no, but they have no contact, and they're set to guard the gorge. And it's not about keeping people out. It's about keeping things from getting out. Because it is the gateway to hell. It's kind of like Cabin in the Woods with snipers.
Or I think it's just called The Gate.
Yeah. So they break their no contact rule, and they're both stationed there for a year with no contact of the outside world. So looking at each other and playing chess and stuff through their scopes, they fall in love. And eventually one of them falls into the gorge and the other one goes in after or whatever. So that trailer's out there. And then...
You ever seen the movie The Sentinel, Mr. Peterson? I'm just holding up this movie from the Burbs because he was describing a movie about guarding the gateway to hell. That's why.
I got you. Yeah, there you go. I think that's it. The only other thing was that the Rainbow Six movie got like small updates. The people working on it said they are still working on it. They just don't want to get it wrong.
Which they probably inevitably will.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. That first movie with old Michael B. Jordan wasn't so bad. It was pretty good.
Michael B. Jordan's cool.
And then at the end of the movie, it had the teaser for the Rainbow Six movie. So, yeah, there you go.
All right, guys. Well, coming out in theaters this weekend, because it is that time of the show where we tell you what's coming out this weekend. We've got December 12th, 13th. That's the Thursday, Friday, yada, yada, yada. We've got Kraven the Hunter. We were talking about it. You can watch the first 8 minutes if that's a thing you want to do or care enough about. Aaron Taylor Johnson, Russell Crowe.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Another A. Taylor J. from Britain. Yeah.
ATJ. It's coming out. More comic book movies that no one asked for. That's coming out. Also coming out this weekend, The Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim, which we were just talking about, is coming out in wide release, as well as September 5th, which this movie looks pretty good. I want to see it. It's about the 1972 Munich Olympics. There was a sports broadcasting crew capturing a terrorist attack situation. Actually looks pretty fun. Not fun, but you know what I mean. Looks like a good movie, good thriller. And then Trap City coming out this week. Probably not in any sort of wide release, even though it does say in theaters nationwide. This is a movie with not a lot of people that you know of, except for Jeezy. Jeezy's in it, so it's.
I don't know who that is.
He's a rapper.
Okay.
It's about a rapper caught in a drug trade, become an overnight sensation with a viral hit song. Facing prison, he must choose between his rising fame or testifying against a dangerous criminal. So I think it'll be in very limited, maybe somewhat expanded, but not wide release. So those are your movies that are coming out this weekend in theaters. You can check those out. Just check your local listings. Going to a theater is fun. Even if we're like, nobody cared about this movie. Going to the theater is fun, dude. Like Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim. Check that out.
I wonder how Kraven and the War of the Rohirrim are going to compete, because Lord of the Rings, people are like, oh, interest, and they're like, but it's animated, and like,
Yeah.
And then it's like, Marvel character, and they're like, oh, but it's like, but it's someone you don't care about, no one you know is there. And it's like, yeah. So those two, I wonder how they're gonna. It's probably just Moana's gonna kick the shit out of both of them.
Yeah, Moana and Wicked are just like, get out of here, nerds. No one invited you.
Yeah, get the heck out of here.
All right. Well, what'd you have there?
I was man, you know what? One little piece of news that's not really news or anything, but there were 2 directors here in the last week that said that they're sorry for making sequel culture like a thing.
Good.
Which was,
but they're not going to take it back, unfortunately.
No, it was like Coppola being like, dude, I'm sorry that I did the Godfather thing and just made it where sequels are like a must. And then it was one of the directors for like Indian movies and everything. I think the guy that did Bahubali and everything, he got blamed for the unnecessary teasers at the end of movies. And he was like, man, I'm sorry about that, but Bahubali's badass. And everyone's like, all right, well, still, it's your fault that this happens, because now Indian audiences are experiencing sitting through movies that are the length of Indian movies, and then having cliffhanger endings, and they're starting to get really pissed about it. They're like,
want this.
Yeah, dude, it's like, we sat for 3.5 hours through this movie, and there's no resolution at the end of this thing. No,
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, all right, guys. Well, I am going to jump into my review of the night, which is the film Flow. I went and saw it this week. It is currently playing in not a whole lot of theaters nationwide. I think it's only in about 375 theaters here in the United States.
That was the movie. I was trying to remember. The Order.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we had very limited showings at a single theater in our area.
600 theaters nationwide. Yeah. Well, Flow is from a Latvian animation studio, and it's been getting a lot of praise, and it's about a cat. It's an animated CGI about animals, which normally, if you've ever heard me on the show, I don't like movies about CGI animals doing people things and talking like people and wearing clothes and being cops or whatever, and just they're also animals. How wacky. This is animals doing animal shit, and there is no spoken word in the entirety of this movie, which is really refreshing and really cool. The creators of this film were very adamant about using actual animal sounds for all of the animals that were in this movie, except for the capybara. Apparently, they went all the way to these zoos trying to get capybara sounds and like
It just
tickling.
didn't make any.
Well, it didn't fit the personality of the character of the capybara that they wanted it to be, so they used baby camels for the capybara character. Anyway, so this exists in a world that we have not much context about. It's a cat is the star of this adventure, and this cataclysmic flood just comes out of nowhere. And there's animals like running around that normally, avoid each other or would be, predators to one another or whatever. They're all dealing with this just intense, cataclysmic, world-changing flood.
Well, and this is in a world where people are like human
They're
beings
gone.
are gone.
Yeah, and there's evidence of human beings because the cat lives in the house of its former master, but you could tell something has happened. Like there has been some sort of human extinction event that is not referenced, and animals are just kind of like hanging out doing animal things. But this flood happens, and even the animals are like, we got to get out of here, right? And it follows this cat who just doesn't really want to deal with any of it, sort of begrudgingly befriending a golden retriever, a heron, a capybara, and a lemur, and they all somehow like hop into the same boat that's floating by, and they're kind of still continuing to be animals, but learning that they need to be kind of on the same team to survive, if they're gonna survive, and this movie takes an interesting sort of derail, because obviously like this cat and this lemur and this heron are not going to be pals, but they do in a very kind of believable way respect one another and tend to work to help each other like survive and continue to like not drown and feed each other and make it through. And there's weird scenes of this like haunting, like what is happening. They're not explaining any of it, and there's the sea creatures. There's this huge sea monster that ends up like kind of like a whale, but not like, I don't know what kind of animal it is. It's definitely fantasy, but it helps them a couple of times through the film. And there's this sort of, this cat is like learning, because cats are freaking hella smart, and it's learning the appreciation of, this was my enemy, but no longer, or, having this bird went to kind of save this cat, but then the other birds wanted to like peck it to death, but then that one bird was like stood up and was like, no, you can't, and this is all done in squawks and flaps and like real animal stuff. But then those birds like gang up on the other bird, break its wing, and that bird can't fly. And he's like, well, I guess I'm stuck here. And the cat's like, well, damn, I guess that was my bad. And so, they become friends, but not in a like, hey pal way, we're friends now. It's all very, very authentic, and there's something extremely hypnotic about watching this movie, because the animation's not like amazing, right? It's from a small studio in Latvia. It doesn't have the same budget and cell shading and textures that How to Train Your Dragon live action is going to have, but you kind of forget about all of that when you are face to face with a really good story. And
well, it creates like an art style.
It does.
Yeah. Like it looks like it's stylized. I mean, you can tell, it's not like giant budget, but everything doesn't have to be big budget. You
If
can
the story is good and it makes you feel the feels, then the art style can be a style. It can be a feature instead of, like, oh, it's not believable. And honestly, all of the motions and just hearing the sounds that these authentic animal sounds, we're not listening to Chris Pratt be, the cat. It's an actual cat it's kind of wild. And yeah, it's really, really good. And the end of it is incredibly sad. But not like super sad, like sad in a way that I don't want to give away any spoilers, but
all movies about animals are sad at some point.
There is some sadness.
You ever seen The Wild Robot?
Right. I don't want to spoil it, but I was really, really happy that I saw this movie, and I think this is the kind of movie that you need to let your kids watch. Don't put them in front of Moana 2. Put them in front of this.
I wanted to watch this movie so bad, but all the showings ended at 5:00.
Yeah, it was a very, very early showtime. So, Flo, if you can catch this in theaters, as Al Topich over there on Twitch said, he said Flo got a Golden Globe nomination for Best Animated Film. Like, it's really good. It's very, very, very good. Merle says, not to sidetrack, but Stray is an amazing game in a post-human setting, which Stray is about the cat. Like, I remember I've seen that. I wanted to play that, but I didn't have a thing that would play it.
It's on Xbox.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
well, maybe
it was
check it out.
it was a PS5 exclusive, but now it's available on Xbox. I think it may be on Game Pass.
Okay, I'll have to check that out because I've been wanting to check it out. But yeah, that's in theaters. Not many theaters, but if it's in theater near you, check it out soon because it won't be there for very long, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
All right. And you said you watched
I also watched something animated.
Yeah,
turns out something I was not
Creature Commanders
expecting to be animated. I don't know if that was ever put out there, and I just glossed over, didn't look at it. But yeah, I watched the 2 episodes of Creature Commandos that's out, which is the first release of the new DC cinema bullcrap. So it does canonize the Suicide Squad, the most recent Suicide Squad movie, which is making it where presumably the 2 Suicide Squad movies that are already out there are both part of canon material. But Weasel still lives. I think that was like a post-credit scene. And normally DC is like where you go to
for
find
animated
good
cool stuff.
animated stuff. This ain't it.
Oh man,
this as a series so far is not what I would expect of anything from DC's animated stuff. Usually,
is it just DC trying to be Marvel now?
Yes, and it's very James Gunn. In fact, you get an animated James Gunn at the beginning of each episode, sitting there writing his stuff, and it has all the people that he would bring into things. It has Sean Gunn doing a couple of voices there. You do have like Alan Tudyk.
He's great.
He has not really got to shine as of yet in the 2 episodes that are out. You have Frank Grillo doing the voice of one of the main characters. David Harbour comes in as Frankenstein, who is not initially part of the Commandos, but it's only 2 episodes in. And Peter Serafinowicz is supposed to be in there somewhere too. So all of these other comic characters, you have the Tick and Hellboy and everyone else coming in as voices on this. But so far, the focus of the show has been animated boobs.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Boobies.
The first 2 episodes are just weird, lewd animations with limited comic book action. So they get the new Suicide Squad together because the Creature Commandos in this aren't their own thing. This is a Suicide Squad. They have the implants that will cause them pain if they don't do what Colonel Flag wants. And when I was expecting Creature Commandos, I was expecting Creature Commandos. I was thinking like a Frankenstein-led team
Yeah.
that had all of like the cool horror people, the Halloween team that I really wanted to have. But instead, it is Suicide Squad 3. And it is they're all criminals. They're not heroes. Rick Flag, older Rick Flag, is the only good guy in the mix, and it's so far just a very big letdown for what DC normally has to offer, and that is upsetting because they just focus on cartoon sex instead of anything that's
Substantial,
story
yeah.
or action driven. So anything that could be established in the first 2 episodes that would make it where it was any sort of interesting story.
Who does Peter Serafinowicz? I hate his last name. Serafinowicz. Who does he play?
I don't know.
'Cause I'm seeing him in the credits.
And I saw him on the roster. You get Viola Davis at the very beginning too, and
she's
animated,
Amanda Waller, of course.
But the thing I don't like is that since it is Suicide Squad 3, and this is a direct connection to the movies, they animated Amanda Waller to be Viola Davis and not have her voicing like real like Kingpin body.
Yeah,
Amanda Waller. Yeah. So
very in your face, like scary Amanda Waller.
So it's very detached from DC Comics, and more aiming to be DC movies. And I don't know that is the right move. I get that they're trying to keep some consistency there because it's part of the new DC movie thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I watch DC animated, I expect it to be real DC stuff, and they've always been so good at that. Or if they do change things, they go about it a certain way that keeps it engaging or interesting. Like the Teen Titans stuff that they've done recently, all of that was generally pretty good. So yeah, so far 2 episodes in. The voice acting is not bad or anything like that. It's not up to like a level that I would generally expect because Viola Davis it sounds like someone handed her a piece of paper and said,
go read this.
Read this and then get the hell out of here. Alan Tudyk isn't really, he does G.I. Robot, and he's not really Alan Tudyk. He's not. It's not something. The best character of any of the voices is the mermaid fish lady, and everyone else is kind of just a big
blah.
Yeah, blah.
David Harbour is Frankenstein.
It's just a bad accent.
Oh.
And all you get from him in the first 2 episodes really is that he's a playboy on a yacht. He's like a Russian oligarch type dude. And because he's not part of this squad, he's waiting for the bride to return.
I see.
Yeah. So, so far, 2 episodes in, they're releasing it little by little. It comes out every Thursday. We'll get another one this week. But all of these series that Max has been introducing, like the Dune series, no one's happy with this. Creature Commandos is not a good way to start James Gunn's DC.
Definitely not.
It's not at all what I was expecting. Like, I wanted Swamp Thing. I wanted Frankenstein, more like Frankenstein in the comics. I wanted...
Swamp Thing is the GOAT. We all know it. We've talked about it.
Yeah, I mean...
Why sleep on the green?
I wanted more Halloween that Creature Commandos has been in the past, and it's not...
missed opportunities.
So I think it's just it's a misfire on everything that it's trying to be all at the same time, so none of it works.
Well,
But I'll watch another episode or 2, but so far it's a big miss for anyone that's going to be a DC fan. It's definitely made for casuals and not people that are fans. But the hard part about drawing people into an animation, I couldn't think of a better word for it at the time, but the hard part about an animation like that is that the people that you're going to have watch it, or the people that care.
They care, yeah. They're going to be your core foundation of fans.
But the content is for people that don't. Yeah. So it's very, I don't know. It's not it. So.
Well, you can check it out on Max. It's out there, ready for you, and there are more episodes coming. So maybe we'll report if they get better. But yeah, it's time. The last segment time. It's more. You might want to take a swig, Jake. You're gonna have to talk some more here. It's box office roundup time. The way we do it is we give you the top 10 movies of the past weekend, because movies are out every weekend. They make money, and we follow the money to find out what if we're gonna get more of or what we're gonna get less of. So we vote with our dollars in the theater, folks. It's not just sitting at home clicking through thumbs up stuff. So we're going to start with, actually we might end up starting.
There's quite a few here, yeah.
Deep down in there, because there's a lot of indie movies that came out that didn't make any money. But Jake, wherever you want to jump in, man.
I'll come in right here at number 12.
Okay.
Because 12 is The Order. That's the one with Jude Law and Nicholas Hoult. We got one theater here.
We talked about it last
couple of showings. Yeah. Opening week, it gained $878,000. It's only in 600 theaters. So that's something, if you have it, might be one to watch. That was another one we're like, I want to go see it.
Not here.
None of our theaters have it, which The Return, which is not anywhere in this list that we're seeing. Oh, there it is, number 19. We had one showing at one theater. It's in a little over 600 theaters. That was that one I got so amped about last week because it's about Odysseus. 361.5 for it. But going back up at number 11, since I did just talk about Frank Grillo and a werewolf, a weasel wolf, wereweasel, Frank Grillo and Real Werewolves came in at number 11, just over $1 million in its opening week. That one, if you want like a real horror movie, like a horror action movie, that one looked to be pretty fun. And then at number 10, The Best Christmas Pageant Ever dropped out of the top 5. Fifth week
just
out
before
from,
Christmas.
Yeah, fifth week out from Lionsgate. 1.5 million for it. 34.5 so far. And then opening at the number 9 spot.
This surprised me, honestly.
I'm going to find time to watch this. I do. It does look fun. Y2K, a horror comedy.
I'm going to have to see this tomorrow.
Yeah. 2.1 million brought in by that one here so far, which it's in 2,100 theaters. So how about that? And then at number 8, For King and Country, A Drummer Boy Christmas Live. I cannot believe that is in the top 10. Really. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that many people would go to watch something like that, but
I guess so.
It's a Fathom event. I mean, it has its audience. So 2.2 million brought in by that one. Wow. How about it? And then at number 7, Solo Leveling Reawakening, some anime movie that I didn't know was going to be a thing until I scrolled through the listings for it. But just under $2.5 million brought in by that one from Sony. Good job for you, mysterious anime movie. And then number 6.
No, this blew me away because we didn't even talk about it because I didn't even hear about it because it's only in 160 theaters.
I did not hear about this either until I'm reading it right in front of my face at this moment. Interstellar at number 6.
In 160 theaters, destroyed Moana in terms of per theater average.
Jesus, yeah. More than doubled it.
It made... Yeah.
$4.6 million brought in by a movie in 165 theaters.
That's insane.
Its theater average was $28,000.
Compared to the number 1 movie in America, which was per theater average $12,000.
Yeah. Wow.
That's wild.
Was it large format release? Was it like an IMAX release?
But also, who cares?
Yeah.
Like
I watched Interstellar on TV just the other day.
I mean, do we just really... Were there that many zillennials that wanted to see the origin of Matthew McConaughey crying meme? Like, is that what they wanted to see? Because, hot take, I didn't think Interstellar was that stellar.
It gets better when you watch it a couple of times, but
it's okay.
Really, the one question that Interstellar always left me with is, why is Matt Damon such a butthole man? Like,
Go watch The Martian, and then
well,
and then he's
not-
better.
yeah, he's a cool dude. Which, you know what's funny about that? Like The Martian, he has to like dock with the ship, leaving the planet, and it's like successful and he lives. But Interstellar, spoiler, he tries to dock with the ship, and they're like, "Don't do it, you idiot!" And then he kills everything because he's stupid, dumb idiot. But yeah, you watch that movie and you're just like, why does Matt Damon suck so bad in this movie? Yeah. Well, anyhow, Interstellar's fun after you watch it a couple times. Also, you're like, why is Casey Affleck such a shitbag? It's because he's Timothy Chalamet grown up.
Yeah.
At number 5, Red One, which you will be able to watch this Thursday at home.
Yeah.
7 million brought in by that one in its 4th week out. Not even 86 million. It has brought in almost 80 million elsewhere in the world. So it's made $164.5 million. Still not enough to
even pay for
overcome what The Rock's delays caused. That's crazy.
That's sad.
And then at number 4, this is one of the reasons that we talked about some director apologies earlier. Pushpa, The Rule, Part 2. The original Pushpa, The Rise, is available on Amazon Prime right now, if you'd like to watch that. This one came out, made $9.3 million here in the U.S. I've read that it made quite a bit more internationally. It's not showing it at what we're looking at, but I saw that it has made $73 million.
Wow, that's a lot.
There may have been crores in there, but the article I read said $73 million.
Dollars.
It's only in 1,200 theaters, so good job for it. Apparently, not to ruin it for you if you decide to watch some Telugu movies here, but the end of the movie is a cliffhanger, and that's what has Indian audiences
3.
really pissed, is because all these big movies that keep coming out, like Kalki and Pushpa now, and a couple others here in recent history, they've all left you on big cliffhangers, and it's just pissing people smooth off. So anyhow, it looks exciting. The original one's on Prime. You can catch up. Go watch this one in the theater before it's gone. And then holding strong at number 3, Gladiator 2 brought in $12.5 million. So far in the U.S., it's brought in $132.9 million, 235
big overseas take.
So almost $370 million. I did see a lot of things that people are very happy with. Its lead actor being on SNL. They did a Gladiator 2 musical, so they did that.
I saw that in my
Glicked crossover that everyone was wanting to be the Barbenheimer. And then at number 2, holding number 2, Wicked with $36.5 million, and it's
pretty
third
good week.
Yeah, geez. 322.1 in the U.S., 135 elsewhere. It's almost made $500 million. Another $500 million to go before it conquers Greece, though. And then at number 1, Moana 2, $51.3 million. It's made just under $300 million in its 2 weekends out. It's been out 1 full week, and it's made $300 million in the U.S., another $300 million everywhere else in the world. It's sitting at just under $600 million. $599.
Are we that bored? We don't have anything to take our damn kids to, and you're just like, Moana.
Hold on. I just saw that Velvet Santa Googled Matt Damon and docking. Don't do that. Matt Damon. Watch Team America World Police for that one. But yeah, dude, that's crazy that Moana has made almost $600 million in a sequel that no one needed.
No, the world's a crazy place, guys, and it doesn't. When I see these box office reports, I'm just stupefied. Often. It's whack.
Really, when I heard that Moana 2 and Moana live action were happening, I was like, no one needs these things. It's never going to work. That's why I don't play the box office betting game like old Dina does, because I would have been wrong.
Been lost. All right, guys. Well, that is the box office roundup. That is the show. Thanks for tuning in. Do not forget to check us out on any of your social medias that you like to follow. You can check us out Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. We simulcast the stream every week, same time, same channel. You can find the Discord. You can get involved in all that stuff after the fact over on our link tree, driveinspeakerbox.com. Everything that you need is right there. So, yeah, any parting words there, Jake?
No, I got nothing.
All right. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.
As you leave the theater, folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.